That's curious where that word came from. That's
I don't know.
interesting.
It's such a dumb word, in my opinion. I'm sorry
It's so
to my Canadian
strange.
friends. I think the word is really dumb. I think it's just a stupid word. I don't know why I have such feelings for it. All right, dude, we're on the air. How you doing?
I'm not too bad. Just
all right.
Going at it.
It's we're recording on a Friday. We're not usually recording on a Friday. Not that anybody listening to this cares.
Right.
I don't know why. Whenever I bring it up, I have to also say, well, nobody cares.
Yeah. It's been a weird week.
It has been a weird week.
Just that way. It's like it's Friday, and I'm like excited that it's Friday, but it doesn't feel like it's Friday. And
tell me about it.
I don't know, it's just weird.
Let's bring everybody in. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Make Trades Great Again podcast. I'm Eric. He's Andy.
We're role reversal.
We're role reversal here. Everybody, if you haven't already, hit the follow on whatever it is you either watch or listen to us on. We'd really appreciate that. And if you've been listening to us for a while, maybe share us with a friend or give us a rating on your podcast app. Really appreciate it. So Andy, you said that you had something. You said something about. I don't even know anything about this story. Everybody listening, like, I don't know what Andy's going to talk about here. But he said something about big job you got going on. All of a sudden, they're tearing the roof off of buildings and things aren't going the way. I don't know. That's all I know. You take it from here.
We look at jobs and rarely do you really go, well, what's the risk? Right?
Okay.
Right? I mean, what the last job that you did, that was, let's say it was a $10,000 job. Did you look at it in the aspect and go, well, what's the risk?
No.
Right? What's the risk associated? No, we don't. On the daily, you don't.
Well, because you do kind of the same thing over and over all the time. Complacency is a real, though. Like, I'm not thinking about the risk because, of course, if you did, then you'd probably lose your mind, right?
Exactly. And so that's, in this particular job, I had some level of risk. So here, let's roll back the scale, the clock here a little bit.
Now, give us a scope of the job.
Yep. So, 2 multifamily buildings. Okay. One building's got, I think, 6 apartments in it, and the other has 5. Side by side, it's part of a large complex that's probably 100. No, maybe not that many. Maybe 60 or 70 units total. The third building is larger, 3-story building. Anyway, these 2-story building, kind of a low income housing, basically.
Okay.
The buildings are like 12 years old, 13 years old. So
they're pretty new.
Yeah, fairly new. And they've got these Goodman heat pumps in them. Air source heat pumps. They're like kind of like the indoor units, like what you'd find in a hotel.
Okay.
Where like in the wall, there's common return and some ductwork. Real basic systems.
Okay.
Anyway, so there has been this ongoing roof problem with these buildings. Not like roof leak, but the other, and that's that they're a membrane roof and something to do with the way the building and the roof system was constructed that they trap moisture in the attic space.
Okay.
And so what they were getting is they're getting moisture in the foam, essentially, underneath the rubber membrane roof, and it's creating mold. And so they replaced the roofing on the other building, the big building, a few years ago. And the next year, so 2 years ago, we got a call and said, hey, would you be interested in doing these other 2 buildings? I'm like, dude, it's 11.
These other 2
pumps.
Buildings? What do you mean? Like,
so
the heat pumps have something to do with this?
No, well, the heat pumps are on the roof. So all the HVAC equipment's on the roof, or the outdoor equipment's on the roof.
I got you.
Yeah. And so they were like, well, we need to have you take this stuff off the roof so we can replace the roof and then hook it back up. A couple years ago, I don't know the exact scope of what shook down. I've quoted it 4 times, I think.
From since the time it started, like a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So 4 years ago or 2 years ago, I quoted it, it was like, hey, we're going to take off disconnect the equipment, then we're going to put it back. Right. Because at that time it was like 10 years old. And I'm like, I'm a 10-year-old heat pump. It's probably fine. Right.
Better be.
There shouldn't be anything wrong with it. Well, then the next year comes and goes. well, we're going to take it off and we're going to put new outdoor equipment. Right. So they're changing the scope. Like, yeah, let's just replace it. Okay.
Well, yeah, you're like, heck yeah.
Like, oh, all right, I'm in. And, each time we're looking at it and I'm like, it's the same job, right? I mean, other than now, instead of putting the old back, I'm putting new on. Well, this year comes around. Well, guess what? We can't get 410A condensers or outdoor units anymore.
Right.
So we've got to change the indoors too. And so I'm looking at, a couple of different products and different brands and manufacturers. Well, we settle on Midea, right?
Okay.
Partly because I've Keller here locally has got a Midea dealership they're working the Midea angle, and I mean, it's nice stuff.
Yep.
Well, I start looking into it and I'm like, geez, look at this. They make a 19 SEER low temp heating heat pump that matches up with a variable speed indoor unit. And
so you just need an air handler, and then you need
the air handler is right there with it, right?
Yeah.
So they make a wall mount unit that fits right in the exact same hole
gotcha. Yeah,
as the
direct
old
replacement.
Direct replacement, and it's like connected up to the existing line sets, 2-wire communication,
nice,
just easy. And I'm like, this is going to be sweet. So anyway,
those Chinese engineers are pretty smart.
telling you. So we get this project going, we get the approval. This is recent. Like, I think I got awarded the job, like, must have been like middle of June.
Yeah.
So just in the last couple months.
Yeah.
And and so we get this timeline, and they're like, we're going to start the tear off like July 20th or something like that. Right. We're going to tear off the roof. And so we need the equipment going the week prior to that. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, it's July. We're taking all the air conditioning out of this building. This can be hot.
Yeah.
You guys sure about this? No, yeah.
July in Missoula it's
dry. It's toasty.
A little toasty.
Yeah. So, I mean, and yeah, very typically we're going to be in the mid 90s to, through August, this could be upwards of 100, 105.
And popcorn fart levels
dry,
of humidity.
Single digits dry. Yeah. Well, so we go in, middle of July. Tristan and I and Dylan go up. We pull all the equipment off, or get all the equipment evacuated and broke down and cut loose. And crane shows up a couple of days later. We crane all this shit off. Right? It's all gone. My part, easy. Put it all in trailer.
At this point,
yep. Everything textbook.
And you're replacing it with new equipment anyway.
We're going to, but so I order the equipment, and there's a little delay. We're not going to have equipment for like 90 days.
Oof.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take to put this new roof on?
Well, they said 5 days. And I'm like,
wait,
okay,
but you're not going to have AC equipment to go back on for another 2-3 months.
Yep. And I called the customer, and I'm like, hey, listen, here's the scenario. Because of this is the direction that I'm the look that I'm getting here is that because of the time of year and the fact that right now is construction season, right?
And and the refrigerant changeover,
the refrigerant change, and the tariff thing that's got this like little ripple effect in how things shipped out of China for the last 6 months.
Yep.
It hasn't been like smooth, continuous supply chain like we've had.
Yeah.
And part of this comes back to, like, say, the people forecasting the market. And in this particular case, what was explained to me by the manufacturer's rep was that because of the tariff thing and the uncertainty of how they were going to be able to sell products that were going to come in at a much higher price point, they reduced the number on the buy that they were, or the amount that they were going to ship to the U.S. for just to stock, right?
Yeah,
because they weren't sure, like,
they weren't sitting there any longer than they had to, because prices were hopefully going to go down.
Right. And there was a handful, apparently across the nation, there was a handful of multifamily projects that were forecast that were on hold due to building cost. right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you get something like that where you're like, oh, we're going to buy 1,000 of these and then we're not going to buy 1,000 of these, you don't want 1,000 sitting here that you're going to be paying a high amount for just to hold.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there was a ripple in that supply chain. So consequently, my stuff wasn't even in the States, right? It was not even on a boat in China yet.
Oof.
And it was like, wow, I mean, I sold this job and this is what we banked on. And okay, well, I guess that's what we're getting. Supply chain guys have been awesome to deal with. We've actually bought some stuff out of New York. So some of it's coming from New York across the country to show up on our project here in Montana. And we've got some of it that's going to be just coming on a boat. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so fast forward this thing, roofing contractor, GC are like, yep, we're going to take it from here. And the idea was, I think they were going to pull the rubber off. They were going to pull the foam off and pull the sheeting off to assess what kind of mold damage. So if you think about this roof structure, it's wood frame building, engineered scissor truss underneath the roof sheeting, blow-in insulation, and then drywall to the second floor apartments, right?
Yep.
Well, so they pull this thing off. They're doing something, and being July and August here, beginning August, we get lots of thunderstorms.
Okay.
And so
now they got no roof.
I don't know what exactly they had for temporary roof covering. Yeah, they'd pull the roof covering off both these buildings, and then the construction company that was dealing with it is, that's their turn, right? Like, start figuring out how to make this building structural again, clean it up. Well, somewhere along the line, the temporary roof covering didn't hold up in the wind, blew off. And these are occupied buildings, nonetheless, right? So they're not, they didn't move the people out of the second floor. They're just, well, big, huge, we get, I don't know if you've ever been around Missoula or in the mountains for thunderstorms.
No.
Like, it'll be clear blue skies. And then all of a sudden there's this black wall of like, oh, that's not good. Yeah, and it dumps a pile of rain, and you don't really know. I mean, other than looking at the forecast, you can be like, well, there's a chance of thunderstorms. You never know if they're actually going to materialize or not.
Sure.
Until they're here. Anyway.
That has something to do with the upper level atmosphere and
mountains pushing things up, and And so anyway, these two buildings got flooded like 3 or 4 days in a row, where whatever the temporary roof cover. Anyway, so I get a call because we were supposed to go in there this last week and put the new, we got a bunch of Pro Stands. Anyway, I'm going to throw out a shameless plug for the guys over at Pro Stands there. And I think they're out of New York too.
I think so.
Anyway, we got a bunch of Pro Stand equipment stands that are going to go on this building, and these Midea units will sit on them. Well, we wanted to put the new stands on the sheeting and then have the roof around them, right?
Oh, wow.
Because these are going to be like a permanent fixture up there. And that way they're attached to the structure and they can roof around them, and it's going to be a really nice install. Anyway, I call the GC to say, hey, what's the status? I got to get these stands on there, and we got this little window of time when you guys are done with the sheeting and before the roofer starts, putting foam down, because I don't want the foam down and then have to cut all that out. And he's like, yeah, well, got some delays. We're running into some delays. Okay, well, I'll let you know. So I ended up talking to the customer, and he's like, yeah, we had to move all the second floor tenants out, and now they've got another restoration company in there, and they're doing water damage and mold damage throughout the units, and probably rehabbing 5 apartments. And, I was just like, oh, geez. So I'm not sure exactly the extent, because I haven't been there personally, but
sure,
it doesn't sound good.
No.
So the moral of the story is to look at when you're looking at risk, like, what could go wrong?
Sure.
Right. I mean, and you said it, hey, how does this, we're going to do this boiler change out this week. What could go wrong? right? I can't get the
Yeah.
old boiler out.
Uh,
You know, I mean,
Yep.
Tristan and I just finished one up yesterday. You know, just your traditional flight of stairs down. Well, when I went and looked at it, wasn't paying attention to the stairs totally, but it's one of those that instead of having a landing at the bottom of the stairs, it's got like 3 or 4 angled stairs.
Oh yeah, so they're pie-shaped stairs.
Yep. Well, you can't get your stair climber on that. Doesn't work.
Usually not unless they're like 5 feet wide or something.
Yep.
You get a wider
I need
end. What?
Made me think of something. I should build a step.
No,
like a
don't.
half
I've thought about
platform.
it. I know.
Yeah.
You're probably better at that than I am, but I've
Yeah.
actually thought about that. No
Yeah.
lie. I
Yeah.
guess in this situation, I know what you're saying. I guess in like a 1-by-1 situation, it might work, but
Yeah.
just think if it broke.
Yeah.
It's funny you
there's the
say
risk.
that, you think about the risk kind of thing. So you know about it because I've talked to you about it, but I haven't said anything on the podcast or anything on social. But like I had a job sold this summer where I was going to put in the big dog refrigerator, William Refrigerator Perry boiler. If anybody knows the reference there,
Right.
Go Bears. The big Viessmann, the big stand-up floor set, stainless steel condensing, beautiful boiler, like really nice boiler.
Yeah.
I had sold that for a house, multi-zone baseboard. It can actually be like a perfect application.
Really a nice job. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's a house over a crawl space, and the room in which you access the crawl space is like the mudroom off the garage. That's where the boiler sits.
Yeah.
Old cast iron was in there. Whole plan was to go with this boiler. It's going to take up a little space, and everybody's like, yeah, no, that's fine. And then I demoed the job like in April, then went back in like early July, I think it was, to install.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing that was going on with like remodeling the room and everything. That's why it was such a gap. Show up with this boiler that had been sitting in my shop for like over a month by that time. And I get it uncrated. Nobody says a word, meaning the homeowner doesn't say a word. He's there the whole time. I get it into the space. I'm like picking up garbage, right? I'm getting the packaging off the driveway and kind of bundled up so it's not sitting there outside just laying around in the yard. And he comes out and he says, oh, yeah, before you go any further, can we talk about this? And I'm like, oh, shoot. Because I saw him kind of like looking at it, and he was like, eyeballing the hatch into the crawl space. And I'm like, because we're kind of close to it and all this stuff. And like, I had to like shimmy that thing around to even figure out how I was going to make it like work out.
Yeah.
Only bad thing about that boiler is how the venting comes off the back at the bottom. So it requires a fair amount of space.
And it came off the top.
I agree. You could get that thing to the wall probably a good 6 inches closer. But anyway, long story short, I didn't lose my cool. I don't know how. I just kind of took it all. Like I handled it differently than even maybe you would have at the time. Like I was like super proud of myself.
Yeah.
But I never thought about the risk of the customer saying, I don't like how that sits in my space and it's taking up too much room, and we got to figure something else out. And we talked about this with one of your jobs recently with the water heater not fitting. Tristan's out there ready to demo the unit, and the thing's about ready to show up in the driveway. And you're like, and he's telling you, where are we going to put this? It ain't going to fit. It was a heat pump water heater. I remember. But yeah, so I did the same thing. Boiler though, little more expensive, little more of a like, oh crap, we got to rethink this, because of how that affected everything for me. Was with that boiler, I didn't need a low loss header. With that boiler, I didn't need buffer tank or anything like that. I didn't even need closely spaced T's and primary secondary piping. I didn't need any of that, because this boiler is actually rated for 0 gallons per minute flow rate. It can just have 0 flow rate and still fire. It's fine.
Turn the pumps off.
Yep. This boiler can be pipe direct. It lowers the install costs considerably, making this boiler more affordable for certain applications. And because it is a very high priced piece of equipment.
Sure.
Anyway, I had the same, like, not roof is off, we don't have 10 units coming, but much the same. It was I didn't think about the risk. It was not even part of my thought process about this job. And now moving forward, That boiler's sitting in my shop, by the way. So if anybody listening
Out of the
is a
box.
local, yeah, no, it's in the box.
Oh, did you put it back? Okay.
Repackaged. Well, yeah,
Still had the
I mean,
box. Yeah.
everything's still like
Yeah.
there, but
Well,
you
I
know,
have a space pack Solstice in my shipping container that's like that.
I thought you maybe have that sold.
I do have it sold. I do have it sold.
Okay.
That's an exciting part.
Well, I'm hoping that this boiler actually goes into my brother and sister-in-law's place.
Okay.
The Duluth build, anybody that's followed
2.0?
closely over the years, the Duluth build family member, my little sister, they sold their house, which is a little it's funny, it's a different topic for another day, but it's a little heartbreaking in a sense. So it was like, oh man, that was I had a lot of pride in that system. It was a lot of fun. And you helped me. You came to Minnesota and worked on that system with me.
Yep.
Where we put our first well, it's kind of our first for you, but my first air source, air to water heat pump.
Yep.
They sold it. But anyway, their new house, I'm hopeful that they'll have me. I hope I get the job. It's not guaranteed by any chance, actually. But I hope I get the job and we do some pretty cool stuff on the next house. And it's probably going to get this boiler in it. We'll see. I sure hope so, because I'm going to have to find a spot for it. If something comes up before that, I'm going to put that thing. I mean, that boiler is awesome. And it really sucks for the Ani Plumbing and Heating books that I own that thing.
Yeah.
But is what it is.
Yep.
Risk. Yeah, think about it. What's the update on your equipment? Are you going to have everything you need?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, some of it, I hope, I suspect I suspect that this for the GC is probably a couple week delay. I probably not, a couple weeks on the initial scope of the job. Obviously doing rehab of those apartments is not going to be timely. My equipment will not be here in time, which is kind of what I expected. Some of it is going to be here. We've got another contractor in the south, Arizona, maybe.
That is south, yes.
That is, that has some of the equipment that is coming for a multifamily that we're seeing if they're interested in basically exchanging equipment with us, because they don't need it for months, and that contractor has not yet given us the green light to steal some of their
for them. Tough decision for them.
Yeah, because if my stuff sinks in the middle of the freaking ocean, then it doesn't show, and then they're held up. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, worst case scenario is our equipment shows up when it shows up. They have temporary AC and temporary heat, and it is what it is.
Wow.
Which is weird.
Luck.
It's weird to say that, to be like, initially I was like kind of frantic, like, oh, we got to figure this out. We're going to change brands. We're going to change this and we're going to change that. And I was like, I can't. Right. Like, I mean, the price point on the Midea was great for what we were going to be able to do. I mean, it's
really nice equipment.
It is. And so these units, I mean, one of the things about them is, so the existing ones have electric strip heat in the air handler.
Yep.
And the new ones will as well, in the event you have an outdoor equipment failure or it's too cold.
Yep.
But the old ones cycled over to electric strip heat at like 27 above zero.
Oh my gosh. They
just
must have been racking up some major
huge
kilowatt hour usage.
Right. Yeah. So I think they're a 7.5 kW electric strip heat in 11 units. No, that's a lot. That's a lot of power. Anyway, so the new ones will have the same size electric backup heaters in the event of a failure, but our outdoor units are rated to hit 80% of their capacity at 22 below zero. So
that's crazy. They probably won't even go into electric. And that 7.5 kW, you're 3,412
20,000 BTUs.
Yeah, so you're 22,000 BTUs per unit.
Yep. And that's so
a lot of
I think, I'm hoping we're going to try and tweak these out to be, I don't want to be in full callback mode, but I'm hoping that we can tweak them so that electric heat's only on when we're -5 or less. But I mean, think about how much energy savings if we could get to the point where we were 150% efficiency, a 1.5 COP at zero. And
You
they're
know,
like,
this is a
4.5.
question for another time, really, honestly, because we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
But does it matter? Like, how much do we care as the contractor?
it doesn't impact me, but if it be,
It's just
because,
cool to think like we could
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
because of the way this housing building is, though,
Yeah.
is these people, I mean, the people that are there, or they each one of them have their own electric meter, and I assume that some of them have some of their utilities subsidized. Maybe it's all of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how
You can
that
make
works.
a real impact then.
But
To
we
people
could
by
make
lowering their operating
Yeah.
because they're footing the bill. Not
Yep.
that we shouldn't care if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I
I
guess it
mean-
makes a difference no matter how the billing is done, because if you lower operating costs, hopefully it lowers the rent.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
So-
So tune in next week to hear whether or not Andy's equipment sunk in the ocean.
Hope not.
I've been waiting to say that for a few minutes because you brought it up. I'm like, oh, that's our next topic. I'm just kidding.
That's right.
So here's a teaser for next week. Yeah, Andy's equipment sunk in the ocean. No,
Yeah.
let's not joke about that. But
No.
it's an interesting story. You have to keep us updated on this. Actually,
Yeah.
we're gonna check in maybe next episode and see
Maybe.
how this is kind of. Well, it's gonna be a while, I guess, for you, but we'll see how this unfolds for you. And I
There you go.
appreciate you sharing it.
Yep.
Now you got me thinking. I'm all paranoid. I got to think about the risk odds. We'd be dumb not to think about it, though, right? Let's be honest.
but you hit it. Complacency is the
Yeah.
key. You know, I mean, because you think
Yeah.
about it. You know, oh, I'm gonna go change this garbage disposal out, or garburator, as our northern friends call it.
Yeah, well, they're wrong, by the way.
That's curious where that word came from. That's
I don't know.
interesting.
It's such a dumb word, in my opinion. I'm sorry
It's so
to my
it's
Canadian
strange.
friends. I think the word is really dumb. I think it's just a stupid word. I don't know why I have such feelings for this.
You know, it makes a lot of sense if you look at the description or the definition of it. Maybe we should.
No,
look
it doesn't. You're just trying to be. You're just too nice. You're just way too nice. Garburator. Who made up that word? A 4-year-old? My goodness.
It's like a carburetor for your sink.
Yeah, like none of it. I can't even pull anything out of that. What do they call parking garages? They call them parkade. That's a different word. It's not as funny though, I guess. But they call it a parkade, and every time I
Parkade.
hear it, I'm like, oh, that's right.
Interesting.
It's just a dead giveaway who you're talking to. Like, oh, this person's from Canada. Not that should matter. It's the other way around. Canadians are like, oh, this person's from the U.S. Okay, let's wrap it up before I get us into any trouble. I probably already did. Hey, man, I seriously appreciate it. And everybody listening, give Andy a follow on Instagram. He's at Mick_Plum. And there's always a link to your social media in our show notes for like the caption of this show. And of course, I'm at Mechanical Hub on just about all the social medias where you might be following us already and watching this video on YouTube. So I appreciate that.
Yep.
All right, dude, let's wrap it.
You're right on.
Take it
Have a
easy.
good one.